Okay, so what is a direct variation? Direct variation, they'll say y varies directly with x. Okay, so the equation that goes with that is y equals kx, which looks very similar to y equals mx plus b. So the k is in the same position as the m. There is nothing after the x. So what does that mean the b is in this direct variation equation? So that is the question. I will have that awkward wait. I think I saw Charlotte say no?
Y-intercept.
Yeah, but what is it exactly? What is the numeric value of that y-intercept? Austin, that cat loves to come into the picture. It's hilarious. You just see a random like fuzzy tail go by.
He's in my left turn.
Wait, is it 0?
0, yay!
Hey.
Good deal, right? So it is 0. So that means if you were to graph this thing, that line will always go through 0, 0. Okay, so you can look at a graph and tell me if it's a direct variation, because it'll be a line that goes through 0, 0. What a great thing to write down. I saw all of you furiously writing. Let me say that again so you can write it down, right? See, and it's using the blurred background. It's a good idea, right? If you don't want people to see the crap behind you, use a blurred background. So y varies directly with x. The b equals 0. K is the slope. The equation, if you graph a direct variation, it always goes through 0, 0. That's what I wanted you to write down. If you graph a direct variation equation, the graph goes through 0, 0. What's another name for that point, 0, 0? Begins with an O.
The origin.
Origin, yes. Right? Okay, so let's talk about this. You'll see this y varies directly with x. You see that a bunch in this section. So varies is the k. Directly just means multiply.
Wait, what is it called if you graph with a what? It goes to the origin?
Goes through the origin. If you graph, I can't speak, a direct variation, it goes through the origin. So you'll notice I say origin and then 0, 0 right after it, so you guys understand what the origin is. Okay, so let's put in front of that a graph of direct variation goes through the origin. Always, always, always. So if it doesn't, it is not a direct variation. Okay, so y equals kx. K means vary, directly means multiply. So if we have this equation, y equals kx, and we want to solve that equation for k, what do I do to solve for k? What do I do to solve for k? Go for it, Anna. She's chewing. That was a big bite. You got to unmute, don't forget. The question was, just for everyone else who may have forgotten, how do we solve for k?
Divide m by both sides.
Divide what on both sides?
X, sorry.
X, right? So in this case, k equals y over x. Another name for this, which you'll see all the time in this section, is this is the constant of variation. So k equals y over x is the constant of variation. Because it'll say determine if this equation is a direct variation. If so, what is the constant of variation? So all you need is whatever number, fraction, or otherwise that's in this position of k, and that is the constant of variation. Okay, moving on. So we've got this equation up here, 7y equals 2x. So take a moment and write that down. So again, we have to solve for y. What do we divide by? Show me with your fingers. What number do we divide by? You can show me with your fingers. Oh, look at everybody freak out. I love that. Good job, Kaysen. I think, no, that wasn't Kaysen. Who is that? I gotta find my mouse. Yes, those of you that are holding up the 7, excellent work. So divide by 7, divide by 7. So y equals 2 over 7x. So is this a direct variation? Nod your head, yes or no. You got a couple no's. Any yeses out there? Because if you're shaking your head yes, you would be correct, right? Because does this equation look like this? What's k? K equals 2 over 7. And there's nothing after the x. So when there's nothing after the x, then it is a direct variation, okay? When there's nothing after the x, it is a direct variation. Any questions on this one? Really important you get these down. They should be pretty straightforward, right? So we're just getting the y by itself. We did that dividing by 7 on both sides. And then they say, what is in position of k? 2/7 is in position of k. And that is the constant of variation. So that's just the slope, right? Y equals mx plus b, m comes before x, y equals kx. What's in position of k? 2 over 7. So if we were to count out slope on this, we'd start at 0 and go up 2 to the right 7. That's all it is. I'm going to copy this problem to the next page so we have some room. And this will be our first breakout room opportunity. Just copy the whole thing. So I screwed up in the last class because I forgot to give people a chance to write this down. So please write this down. And I want you to tell me if it is a direct variation, and if the answer is yes, what is k? And give me a sec. I'll pop you into breakout rooms. Just make sure you write that problem down and unmute your mic once you're in the breakout room. Things I never thought I'd have to say. All right, breakout room's coming. Christian, go to the breakout room. Anna, go to the breakout room. Look at that. Everyone's even got their camera on. That's so nice. I like it. All right. So, how the hell do you solve for the y, people? Raise your hand if you don't know how to solve for the y. 1. Maddie is tentatively raising like a half a hand there. That was funny. So to solve for y, cover up the y, get rid of the other thing. So what do I have to do? Somebody tell me first step.
Divide by 3.
4.
Subtract 4x. Good.
Oh,
Subtract
that's what I
4x, and then, yes, you're right, Maddie. You will divide by 3 as your next step. You're good. Don't worry. All right, I'm going to a different room. I'm just always curious how many people have their cameras on. Last room had everybody with their cameras on. What a wise thing. And unmuted mics so you can actually speak to one another. I just need to start giving you like a 100-point test grade. So if I come into these breakout rooms and you don't have your camera on or your mic's muted, you get a 0 out of 100. And then you fail. I just realized my mic was off and you couldn't hear me. Turn your cameras on and unmute your mics. In a breakout room, you got to do that. So how do I solve for y in this equation? Do you know, Charlotte?
Well, would you divide by 4 first?
So what's opposite of plus 4x?
Oh, I mean,
You meant
subtract.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what would the next step be? Once that's over on the other side, it's negative 4x plus 8. How do you get rid of this 3 in front?
Divide by 3.
Divide by 3. Beautiful. All right, going to another room, just making sure people are getting started.
Wait, do you divide?
Oh, just. Yay, everybody's got their cameras on. Now, if I had everybody, so those of you that have your your mic's muted, you just got a 0 out of 100 on a test. Most normal people would unmute their mics in that scenario, just saying. Apparently, Zasha and Parker are, there we go, yay. You didn't get a 0 out of 100, but my God, if you go to chat room and you have your mic muted, you need a moment of reflection, right? To see the error of your ways. Yes, Megan, you need a moment of reflection. Yes, you do. Okay, how do we solve for y? You cover up the y. How do you get rid of this plus 4x, Parker?
You make it a negative 4?
Yeah,
Like
subtract 4x on both sides. So once on the right side you have negative 4x plus 8, how do you get rid of this 3?
You would move it down with the y, and then you would divide it by 3.
All 3 parts by 3.
Yeah.
Okay? All right, moving on. Do that, and then tell me if it looks like a direct variation, y equals kx. Every single one of you has their mic muted. You know what I'm going to do next time that I come into a breakout room and your camera's off and your mic's muted? We'll just take like 1,000 points off your grade. That's all. Just 1,000. No big deal. Of course, you haven't even had 1,000 points yet, so you might get a negative grade in Algebra 1, but you know. Anna, can you unmute your mic, please? Thank you. Okay, let's talk about this. So, Anna, how do I get rid of this plus 4x?
Do you subtract it?
Yeah, perfect. Subtract 4x from both sides. When you move this thing over to the right side, make sure you write negative 4x plus 8. So write that x term first. And then what's the next step? Once that 4x is over on the other side, how do I get rid of this 3? Dawson, what do you think?
Subtract 3.
No. Because this is like 3 times y. So what do you do?
Divide.
Anyone? Divide. Yeah. So make sure when you divide all 3 parts. Okay? And then at the end, I want you to tell me if it is a direct variation. Right, Anastasia? You got it. Yeah, that's good. All right. So do that stuff. All right, we got most people back, which is good. For those of you, some of you guys, I saw that my mic turned off towards the end. Raise your hand if there was part of it where you couldn't hear me, just so I know that. Okay, good. So it's just a weird thing on my side. All right, let me just fix my window so I can see more of you guys. There we go. Okay, so thank you for having your cameras on. First thing we said is to subtract 4x from both sides. So we have 3y equals negative 4x plus 8. If you wrote it as 8 minus 4x, kick yourself in the shin really hard just one time. One time. That's it. Okay? Write the x term first always. Always, always, always. Okay? Next step, many of you guys told me to do was divide by 3. When you show the divide by 3, I don't want a big fraction bar over here with just 1 3. I want you to show me both of these 3s. Okay? Both of the 3s. Reason being is sometimes you can reduce this fraction and not this fraction. Sometimes you can reduce both. So if you show it as 2 separate fractions, you're more likely to see which ones you can reduce. So this looks like this. So that's part of your answer, but remember it said if, tell whether it is a direct variation. If it is, tell me what k is. So, I know exactly who I'm going to call on. Let's go with Dominic. Is it a direct variation? Oh, Dominic. Who thinks Dominic left? Me too. All right.
Camera on when we were in the breakout room.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I missed your question right at the end, Ari. I'd already clicked off. So if you remember what your question is, feel free to ask.
Oh, I was just going to say, do you divide all three of them by 3?
Yeah.
And yes, you do.
I did answer it. Okay, good. How about clevis? Is it a direct variation?
No.
No, it is not. So if anybody has Dominic's, can send him a little snap and be like, dude, get back in math class. You're going to get marked absent. It's a great idea to do that. Because if I call on you and you don't answer, I just mark you absent. Okay? So this is not a direct variation because the B part is not 0. When you have a number out here, not direct variation. And you don't have to identify K if it's not a direct variation. I could say if it's not K, what's the M in this situation? And you'd say -4/3. Okay, so that works too. Okay, that's good for that. We're not going to do that one. Okay, so you can see this up here. I'm going to tell you what to write. So please write what I'm writing. So y varies directly with x. So as I said before, varies means
I did, by the way.
What?
It just said that Dominic left. So I don't know if his Wi-Fi...
He might have lagged out.
It could have been weird Wi-Fi stuff because mine's doing weird stuff as well. So directly means multiply, as we said before. Varies means k. So if I'm solving this kind of problem, what I want to do is use this k equals y over x. We're going to make a proportion. So if I'm writing steps, I'm going to erase this up here. So hopefully you got it. Just for like general piece of information, if I'm writing steps, you really want to write them down. It generally means the problems are hard. It generally means that people have messed up the problems in the past. So if I write steps, just like that should raise your awareness a little bit so you know it's going to be a hard concept. So we want to plug in the yx So we want to plug it in using k equals y over x. So you may or may not remember from yesterday, we talked about y to the sky, right? Y is always on top. Always, 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 y is on top. So when you're making this proportion, always make y to the sky. So if we're doing 15, we're going to say -10 over 2 equals, and then here is my second x value given in the problem. And I can't tell you, I've been teaching this longer than you've been alive. I've taught Algebra 1 for 19 years. So many kids miss this extra x up here. So just be aware, read the directions every time, right? So again, we're doing it as y over x. So y's on top. We don't have that second y, but we do have the 12 for the x down here. So as long as I have 3 out of 4 variables, I can solve the equation. What do I do to solve this equation? Somebody tell me. What do I do to solve that equation? I'm just waiting for more hands. I see yours, Hannah. All right, I see Charlotte's. More hands, though. I know you know, Jackson. Come on. Yeah, you were just being lazy to raise your hand. I could see it in your eyes. What do you do, Jackson?
Do you multiply by 12?
Okay, we can multiply both sides by 12. Did anybody have a different answer? Because I was thinking something else, but that totally works. Did you have a different answer, Charlotte or Anna? Those are two that I noticed with their hands up. Go for it, Anna.
You could like use common denominator kind of thing, like find like terms and do it.
How about, what's this called?
Cross multiply.
Cross multiply. You know only 10% of adult Americans know how to solve a proportion? Only 10% of adult Americans know how to cross multiply? Isn't that kind of sad? I find it kind of sad. So we're going to cross multiply. Now, I don't remember who it was who said it, but you can multiply both sides by 12. That works. That's basically what we're doing when we cross multiply. So I'm going to go 2 times y is just 2y. 10 times 12 is 120. Makes it so easy. Now the mistake I'll see students make when they do this kind of thing is they'll put the 120 under the 2y. So when you cross multiply, you just have to remember one diagonal equals the other diagonal. All I got to do now is do what? How do I get rid of this 2, Austin?
Subtract it out.
There's my hint.
I'm sorry, it's a little bit blurry.
Okay, so 2 times y. How do I? What's opposite of times?
Divide.
Divide. Divide both sides by 2. Okay. So we get y equals 60. Okay, and we're done. I always go back and look at the question to make sure I answered it. It says, suppose y varies directly with x. Write a direct variation equation that relates x and y. And find the value of y when x equals 12. So we found the value of y. We have not written the direct variation equation, however. So the step 2 here would be cross multiply, which is shown. Step 3 would be plug in y over x to y equals kx. So we'll talk about what the heck that means after you're done writing it down. So did I say up above what y equals x is? The answer is yes. So what is y over x? What's y? Maddie Bratz, tell me what y is on 15.
Like the number.
Just a number.
Hold up. I gotta make you bigger again.
Okay.
Y is -10.
And x is?
2 and 12.
Good. So we're going to use -10. So just plug it into y over x. Y was -10. And the 2 is the x we want. And then if you can reduce or divide equally this fraction, always do that. So in this case, it equals -5. Remember, this whole thing is what k is. We're just figuring out the slope. So sometimes you guys get so wrapped up with direct variation, I'm going to freak out. It's easier than slope-intercept form because it doesn't even have a b over here. So all I have to do is take that -5 and plug it into the equation. Y equals -5x, and I'm done. Right, so I just took that and plugged it in right there. So first thing I want to do, I want to make a proportion using y over x. Then I want to solve for the new y. Then I want to take the direct variation y over x and plug it in so I can write a direct variation equation. So relatively straightforward process as long as you follow those steps, which we're going to have you do right now in a breakout room with number 17 up here. Don't forget about this 12. If you need to take a picture of this so you have it, do so now, because once I start the breakout rooms, you won't be able to see it anymore. And I'll write it bigger too in case you have a blurry screen, because Schoology is doing weird stuff today. So y equals 5, x equals 2, and your new x is 12. Okay, so tell me what k is, or sorry, solve for, do the proportion and solve for the new y, and then tell me what k is and write the equation. So set up a proportion, steps again. Proportion, cross multiply to solve for y. Last step is plug in y and x to find k. Last step is plug that k into y equals kx. Okay, so if you want to take a picture of that with your phone because you don't want to write it all down right now, do that. And I'm going to get you into breakout rooms in just a sec here, so do it soon. All right, breakout room's coming. Gotta unmute your mic so you can talk to one another, knuckleheads. Parker, you're gonna be cold in that garage in the winter. You got a heater in there?
Yeah.
That's good. That's where I do my workouts during the winter too. It's in my garage. I've been there. Travis and Santiago, you gotta unmute your mic.
It creates echo for me.
Okay, who said that?
Me, close.
Okay. Anna Ashley Santiago, unmute your mic, please. I assume Ashley isn't here, so she's marked absent. Okay, so you guys, we're going to plug in 5 for y and 2 for x, and then plug in that 12 and cross multiply. Any questions? All right.
How would it be set up?
What's that?
How would it be set up?
Set up y over x, So you have 5 over 2 equals y over 12, and then cross multiply. 5 over 2 equals y over 12, cross multiply. You got it, Anna?
Yeah.
All right, how about you, Ashley?
I got it.
Cool. Yay, everyone's got their camera on. Only a few special ones have their mic muted, making it difficult to speak to one another. My last special one is all blurry and weird. What, did anybody set up a proportion yet?
I kind of need help with the like the equation to figure it out.
So did you look at the steps? What's the first step say?
Plug in y and both x's given.
Okay, so what's the y?
5.
And what's the x?
2.
So 5 over 2 equals?
Y over 12.
Over 12. Good, and then cross multiply. You got it, Megan? That's quite the furrow brow over there.
No, I thought it was -2, so I just read that wrong.
Yeah, no, it's +2. It's all good. All right, sounds good. Shay, you're frozen, so I can't tell if you have a question or not. Feel free to come out and back in if you need to. I was so hoping everyone had their mic unmuted. You guys all had your cameras on. I was ready to celebrate that you could speak to one another and see one another. It was so good. And then, you know, Casey still didn't listen, but, you know. So anybody set up a proportion yet?
I said k equals 5 over 12.
5 over...
I can't see that.
2. 5 over
Yeah,
2
Oh,
I
5
said
over
that.
2. Okay.
equals y over what, Charlotte?
X.
Y over, they give you
Wait.
that second x.
Oh, 12.
Yeah.
Oh.
So 5 over 2 equals
I get it.
y over 12. 5 over 2 equals y over 12. Cross multiply. Okay? We'll see if you guys get it. Best of luck. Everyone except Ari's got their mic on and unmuted. You guys are the best so far. Everyone's got their mic on. Ari's the only one who doesn't have camera on, but he had oral surgery, so his face is swollen. I get it. Anyone set up a proportion yet? What'd you do, Anna? Elise says no. We'll get to you, Elise. Don't worry.
1 second. Oh yeah. 5 over -2.
It's +2. It's just probably hard to read. So 5 over +2 equals
5 over +2 equals y over 12.
perfect. Good job.
What?
All right, solve from there. Tell me what the new y is, and if you can tell me what k is in the direct variation equation, I'll be extra impressed. Because all k is y over x. I'll give you another minute here.
Wait, is it not just y equals 30x then?
Nope, because k is y over x, right? So y over x is 5 over 2, so it'd be y equals 5 over 2x. The new value of y is 30, yes, that's correct. But the direct variation equation, you just take the 5 and the 2 and make a fraction out of it. It does look like a negative. I see that now. Yeah, it's positive 2. Okay, and we'll go over it in a sec. Any questions before I go? Yay, I can see all of you for the most part, which is a bonus.
Mr. Evans?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, but I have to leave.
no worries. Thanks for letting me know. The video will be posted. It usually takes forever to thing to upload, so probably not till tomorrow, but you're just missing a little bit at the end of the lesson. You can look at notes and try to figure it out, or just ask tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to do this over here. So k equals y over x. So I'm just going to leave the y over x here to write my proportion. So it equals 5 over 2, putting y over x. My new x value is 12. X goes on the bottom. Y goes on the top. Then I just cross multiply. So 2y equals 5 times 12 is 60. Divide both sides by 2. And y equals 30. So right here, we have what k is. So when I tell you to write a direct variation equation, all you need to say is y equals 5 over 2x, and you're done. So to write the direct variation equation, just plug that k in. All right, that is it. All right, moving on to the next one. So is any, doesn't look like people are furiously writing. Anyone need more time? Let me know before I switch the slide. Okay. So this is just talking about the graphs of these equations. So a graph of direct variation always goes through 0, 0, right? So always goes through 0, 0. So if I just give you a graph that doesn't go through 0, 0, you say it's not direct variation. If it does, it is direct variation. This one has a positive slope. That's why it says k, which is the slope, is greater than 0. The one that goes downhill has a negative slope. That's why it says k is less than 0 here. Just some general information. All right, so write these two tables down. I'll give you a minute. And then we're going to talk about how to solve these problems. We need to do one less breakout room so you have more homework time. So that, write those tables down. I can tell some of you are not writing those tables down, so please write them down.
It's blurry for me.
Yeah, I can't really see
Too
it.
blurry. Okay.
Same, I can't see it. Well,
See, if that's happening the whole lesson, you guys got to tell me that sooner. I know I try to use it verbally as well. Let me write it down below here. I think that'll be easiest. So we have 4 and 6, we have 8 and 12, and we have 10 and 15. So we want to determine if the table is a direct variation, all right? To determine if it's a direct variation, it means that the slope of the line has to be constant, whether it's positive, like my arm shows, or negative, like my arm shows. So what we're going to do, so that says k equals y over x. So we're going to do y divided by x for all 3 of these ordered pairs going across. So 6 over 4 is 1.5. 12 divided by 8, always good to check in your calculator. 12 divided by 8, 1.5. And then 15 divided by 10 is 1.5 as well. So is it a direct variation if all of these are the same? The answer is yes. I think it asks us to write a direct variation equation as well. Yes, write an equation. This is k right here, 1.5. So the direct variation equation is just y equals 1.5x. So all you got to do is divide y by x. If you get the same number each time, it is a direct variation. So we're going to do the same thing with this next one here. So make an xy table. Where we have -2, 3.2, we have 1, 2.4, and 4, 1.6. So we're just going to do y over x. You're just making a third column, okay? And then do y over x. So 3.2 divided by -2 is right here, -1.6. So right now, you guys should be able to tell if it's a direct variation or not. Is it going to be a direct variation? No, it is not, right? Because this is the only one that's going to be negative. This one's 2.4. So anytime I get 2 different ones like this, I'm going to double check the last one to make sure I didn't make a careless mistake. So I'm going to do 1.6 divided by 4, which is 0.4. So this is not a direct variation. Not. So add that third column, y over x. If you get the same number, it is. If you get different numbers, it is not a direct variation. Any questions on that one? All right. Last slide is blank. Woohoo! That's it. Okay. So your homework is right up here, page 304. I'll write it up here. getting there. 1 second. 304. It's so slow, it's killing me. Zero, 4, 9 through 25 odd. 27 through 29 all. Okay, so ask me a ton of questions. I'm going to pull a couple people, just ask them about various grade stuff and all that good stuff. So be ready for that.